Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, Ridwanullah family. Jazakumullahu khair for tuning into another episode of Ridwanullah TV's Unfiltered Motivation. I'm your host and maximizer, Hussein Mohamud, working to help you completely maximize your deen as well as every single area of your life in this dunya and in the akhirah by the grace, will, and for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And inshallah, in today's Unfiltered Motivation, I had a little bit of time to think it over, and I wanted to see what I wanted to tell you guys, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And one thing came up to me, because on Thursdays, remind me if I forget, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, on Thursdays, what I want to do is give you the motivation for your deen specifically. Because, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and majority of Thursday, we're so focused on, you know, working and getting the work done, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, and everything else that you could imagine. And then Thursday is the tipping point, because that's the day before the weekend. You know, tomorrow is Friday, then Saturday and Sunday. And it's just so important, because especially when you grow up in the Western world, those are the days that you primarily have off. I'm not certain on which specific days that we have off in the Muslim world, but primarily when you are in the Western world, those are the days that you have off. So this is the time where you could squeeze out a lot of time. Obviously, if you're an entrepreneur and investor, or even more important than that, as Islamic scholar, you have to use every single minute of your time. You have to, you know what I mean, be productive and punctual and everything else that you could imagine. But one thing I want to mention to you guys, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, for today is we have to focus on improving our relationship, the most important relationship. Now, when I said your relationship, I ask you honestly, what came to your mind? Maybe it's that, you know, it's your wife or husband or friend or mother or father or brother or sister or co-worker or someone in, you know, a friend or someone in the community. And all of these relationships are extremely important. And for me personally, I've worked with personally individuals who are having, you know, really bad relationships with all of those individuals that I've just mentioned. But one thing that I've realized is, after doing some research on the reality of our existence and the reality of our circumstances, is that one of the biggest painful problem and challenge, if not number one, guaranteed number two, or number one is really linked to number two if it's not number one, is relationships. And I've really realized that a lot of the people who are going through some really tough situations relationally, as well as every area of their lives, it is because they have neglected the one relationship that is of utmost importance. And maybe for you, you're thinking about something completely different than what I'm thinking about, or maybe you're thinking about the exact same thing that I'm thinking about. And that particular thing is the relationship, the most important relationship, which is our relationship with our creator, owner and sustainer, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Jalla wa ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the most important relationship that we could focus on and continuously improve on. And so long as that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with you, then nothing else could be going wrong in your life. And as long as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is displeased with you, nothing else could be going right in your life. And the reason why I say that is because this is a personal message for me as well, because there's so many things that we want to accomplish, so many things that we want to do, so many dreams, and we don't really inspect the motives, the motivations that we have, and everything else that you could imagine, simply because we don't really understand the destination we're going after, and we're chasing something. We're chasing something, we're going after something, we don't really know what that is. And a lot of it is avoidance behavior. We don't want to be seeing family members or friends or some individuals that are within our circles So we would rather preoccupy ourselves with anything and everything except our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Including myself most of the time. We run to the masjid, if that, right? If that, just to run back out to doing something else. And we don't even know what we're chasing. And I submit to you that we should focus on our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You want a beautiful wife? Correct your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You want an amazing husband? Correct your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You want amazing parents? You want amazing children? You want amazing anything in your life? Correct your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if you have to disconnect yourself from certain individuals within a given period of time to be able to get your relationship right with your family, with your creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what you have to do. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. I really wanted to share that with you is because a lot of you who are watching these videos, some of you guys are showing love, some of you guys are too egotistical to show some love, so it's all great. You know, I ain't tripping about it. But you know, like it's funny, like some people come up to me like, man, your video is great, and I'm like, why didn't you like it? And I do the same thing to other people, so hey, it's all part of the game. I guess we all have different reasons. Hopefully it's valid reasons. But anyway, coming back to the point, we have to improve our relationships with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, I've seen a lot, you know, with myself, family members, friends, and everybody that I'm observing, people who are reaching out to me on social media and otherwise, everybody's struggling with their relationships and the connections that we have. And for me personally, I didn't really realize how important that is and how important that was and how important that continues to be. So I say that to say this, you know, work on going to the masjid bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. If you've never been to the masjid, go to the masjid. I don't care who's judging you. I don't care who's looking down upon you or who's making you feel uncomfortable. That's their problem that you have to face yourself as well, because there's certain things that you have to let go of within yourself to get yourself to that next level. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Go to the masjid. Do the best that you can with taking the lessons or at least learning by yourself within your capacity and going to the scholars and verifying and the people of knowledge and verifying that information bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. And just because you don't have time to go to these lessons and these classes doesn't mean that you don't learn and you don't connect and you don't go. You still do that bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. So take this weekend as the beginning of the rest of your life. Do something small that will improve your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, a lot of people talk to me about the fast life, the night life, the drug life, the everything that you could imagine. They're, you know what I mean, high off any kind of drug you could think about. They're smoking weed, they're drinking, doing Molly, Xanax, and all of these crazy stuff that I'm actually even hearing about. And they're just living life trying to drown their pain with fun stuff for the moment that have long-term repercussions that will detriment their whole life for the rest of their lives unless they return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with sincere tawbah before they are returned back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's important for us to consider that bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. I'm almost at my destination. I really wanted to share that with you because I see a lot of people, including myself, that are struggling. Right? Somebody recently reached out to me saying everything that could have possibly gone wrong last year went wrong. And you know, somebody's telling me, how can I get back from the nightlife and you know what I mean, like the clubbing and the hanging out and the drugging and everything else that you could think about. How can I come back from that? How can I? That's the answer that I'll give you. I don't care whose relationship is messed up right now. Do some damage control, but primarily focus on your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is my challenge for you today. Ask yourself, what is your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how is it? And how can you improve? Where are you with it? Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. And figure out how you can improve on that. Figure out your game plan. That's my challenge for you. Jazakumullahu khair. Please press the subscribe button and press the notification bell to join the Ridwanullah family, and make sure you press the like button down to show some love. And leave your comment below on what you thought about this video, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. I would love to hear it in the challenge as well. And share this with somebody who's struggling with their relationships with other people, more importantly with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Jazakumullahu khair, Ridwanullah family, for tuning in to another episode of Ridwanullah TV, your source to completely maximize every single area of your life in this dunya and in the akhirah by the grace, will, and for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'm your host and maximizer, Hussein Mohamud, checking out by saying, never ever give up on completely maximizing every single area of your life in this dunya and in the akhirah by the grace, will, and for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.